they have to do something really bad in order to
Hurt
do
themselves,
that.
right?
But
Generally,
throwing a ball, your foot position has a tremendous amount of
Factor.
bearing on your safety.
Right, an injury. That's interesting. So, are we generally saying that most of the teaching aids, whether they're weighted balls, I get a kick, you can buy blue ones, green ones, the different weights,
Yep.
it's all not good for you?
Right, and the thing is when there shouldn't be anybody using any kind of aid at 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old.
Oh no, definitely not.
No, but they do. I mean, it's a shame, but one of the things I say is great at 10 and never again. You'll see some 10-year-old that's some phenom that can throw the ball very hard,
right.
Either overhand or underhand. By the time she gets to 13 or 14 years old, her shoulder or elbow or hip or knees are shot.
Not good.
So it's important to gradually
do it.
Get up to a position of when you're ready to get out of high school.
Right.
You can go into college.
Yeah. Well, they're saying even for the guys and weightlifting programs and stuff that you shouldn't even be considering those until you're 16, 17 years old.
Right.
So
yeah, the same thing with the females. You can do little things once they're 14 years old.
Right.
And everything is depends upon the child. Some children are frail.
Right.
Some are very strong.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think anybody, when they start maturing, that's when you can start to do rubber band stuff, isometric things, push-ups.
Right. But not resistance. You're not doing resistance training while you're trying to throw. So I think that what we're telling all parents and coaches, save your money.
Oh, absolutely.
What you need to be able to throw is a ball.
Well, and again, I was just telling you in the interview is the fact I could teach somebody how to pitch without that ball if they would go through that agony, not having the ball to throw around.
Right.
But
we're going to talk about that because I already brought up the fact that when Dennis was here and we talked about that muscle memory of swinging, that he could put a ball on the tee and have the girl close her eyes, and I go, well, I'm going to tell you something. Steve has had Jenny and every girl before and after her, I'm sure, multiple times, pitch the ball and throw a strike down the middle of the plate with her eyes closed.
Oh yeah.
And if they can do that, then they're technically proficient at what they're doing.
It should be like brushing your teeth.
Right. So we're going to talk about that. Rick, we're going to hit a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some specific drills that pitchers can do for strength training. And as we already know, I think we're in agreement, leave the 10-year-olds alone. But be that as it may, there's a proliferation of 10 and under ASA travel teams. So I think we probably want to at least maybe, I know it kills you, but we got to address it a little bit because it's there. It's already here.
Yeah, absolutely, it's there.
So we got to make sure that they take care of these kids more than others. Welcome back, Fair Territory, with our guest today, Mr. Steve Lang. Steve, we left. We said we were going to come back. We promised to talk a little bit about some training,
strength training,
and well, what's your overall opinion on strength training for pitchers specifically?
I don't suggest anybody to do a strength thing until they get into college.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a child going from 13 to 16 or 18 years old, I mean, they're still in a growing pattern.
Right.
And every child's different, but I don't suggest doing any weight training. Just that motion itself is doing a lot for the muscle, and it's also supporting the activity in which you're doing. When you go do strength training of push-ups on a bar or a machine, that's not really doing anything to your motion. I mean, it's building up muscles that you may or may not use in your pitching, jogging or isometric kind of thing, push-ups here and there. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
But all I really want my child and I treat every one of my students like they're my child, is make sure that they stretch properly and warm up properly.
That's the key.
And that's the key. And I can tell in a second whether that child's under any duress or not, just by the way they walk or the way they're moving, or all of a sudden you see a shoulder twitch or a little movement of,
right.
You know something's wrong.
Right.
And you got to stop.
You got to stop, especially at the young age. And they're getting younger all the time. And we had this. I can tell you that the 10 and under division players in recreation, there was no pitching. Now there is, and they have started it in the last five years or so. And I remember reaching out to Steve for the girls softball. Someone asked me, could I find him a 10 and under ASA pitcher? So I called to Steve, and he goes, nope, not good for 10 and unders. I'm not recommending anyone. He was helping a particular student at the time, but absolutely was not recommending any students to actually participate where they're going to throw a 10-year-old. 9 or 10-year-old is going to start throwing the ball in, because parents and coaches get crazy, 40, 50 games a year, even at that age. 40 or 50 games, 3 games in a day, and if she's the only kid that can get the ball over, you know what that means.
Yeah, I didn't want to be responsible for setting somebody up for failure.
Right.
And I think 10 and under travel teams is setting up a child for failure.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Great at 10 and never again. I mean, I've seen it 1,000 times.
So it's okay to hold off a little. Hey, listen.
My daughter was 13 before we even started to think about it, and she was a little, more mature.
Right. And she became a phenomenal pitcher. To boot.
Yeah, she was very, very good.
Right. Louisiana. It's all good.
In Louisiana, she had 21 scholarship offers coming out of high school.
Wow.
One tournament in Colorado, we came back and there were 16 offers.
Right from that.
Just from that one tournament. But
she
was skilled. I mean, she wasn't injured. There was no pain.
Right.
It was all smoothness. It was all about technique.
Mm-hmm. So then, all right, the next step is I want to be a pitcher. Let's say that let's say that the child is 12 years old, 13 years old, and we know that there's going to be younger people listening, and, of course, older girls that want to give it a try. What's the first couple of things we should be doing? I mean, mom and dad, stretching. Mom and dad, don't go by that video and try to understand what's going on, in my opinion, until you see it live from a bona fide.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos since 1980, and there was only one that I've seen that was worth anything. That was Johnny Stratton's, and he doesn't have it anymore.
Uh-huh.
So
the videos out there, again, it's $50, it's $20, it doesn't matter.
A lot of times with those videos are well-known pitching coaches, and the demonstrators that he have are almost world-class kids.
Right.
So every kid can't do what they do.
What they're looking at, right. So, that's very true. That's very true.
So every child's got to be looked at in their own capability.
Right.
And that's what you have, when you're a coach, that's what you have to coach. You can't, although I have 10 or 15 kids in a class, I mean, 15 is the max, I won't have anymore.
Right.
So I can spend some time with each one.
Right.
But each one gets some individual stuff because they're not all the same.
Correct. So it's important then, well, there's two things here, because you said an important thing. The student should seek out a pitching coach. Coaches, if you're going to get into the game, not talking about recreation coaches looking to do it for for their 10 and under kid for a couple of years, but if you're going to coach, then the coach ought to get serious about it. And as Dennis Forte so aptly put last week, they become a student of the game. If you're going to coach, do it right.
If you're going to coach your daughters, I mean,
yeah, certainly.
I've seen so many people that don't really care that this child's hurt. I mean, I just had
push
one
them through the pain
with a
little bit more
Achilles problem, and
right.
Parents said, "No, she's okay."
Yeah, not good.
It's not good. It's not good.
Right.
I mean, for what? I mean, they're 10. I mean, they're not going to get any scholarship. They're not going to win any Lexus or Cadillac at the end of the game. I mean, they've got a whole lifetime to play.